Welcome back. My name is Candace Sanderson. We are on episode 41 of Spiritual Conversations. My friend here is
Carrie Palmer from the West Coast.
and I am from the East Coast in Florida. Carrie, I wanted to talk to you about something today. You know that recently, like the last few months, I have been going on this path of looking at my physical body, and it's been falling apart piece by piece. And I'm thinking, what on earth is going on? I mean, we've had conversations and you said, you've got to figure out what this is.
Yeah.
Well, recently I've, really turned the corner. What I've realized is this has been my body's way of releasing negative or low-lying energy. First of all, my training as a psychologist has taught me to respect science and the medical profession. But when I coupled that training with my understanding of energy and spirituality, I realized I have the perfect model for understanding this mind-body connection. Not that I'm going to understand it all, but I've got the foundation there. Once I brought the messengers into this mix for added clarification, then, Carrie, my understanding just opened. It started with the vision that I had of a splinter that was deeply embedded. And as it started wiggling its way to the surface, it created pain. Now, my new perspective made me realize the pain was a symptom. Well, we all know that pain is a symptom, but I used to see the pain as a symptom of a problem. And the understanding that came with this vision of that splinter working its way to the surface changed me. It changed my perspective. And I began to look at my aches and pains as a symptom of healing, of releasing. As that splinter leaves the body, it's making way for me to heal. It was realizing that this low-level energy was stale energy, and it no longer served me, and I needed to release it. So the next day, not surprisingly, many of my physical symptoms had decreased. And then more understanding came. I realized what I was releasing. And this is where my years of channeling really offered me some answers. So before my spontaneous opening in 2013, I would have thought this was crazy. Crazy. Yeah, crazy talk. But now I know better. And I realized that this energy I was releasing wasn't just stale energy from this lifetime. It was from past lives and also ancestral energy. With that realization, then I got another download. This download talked about a new role for light workers, people that work with the non-physical, and how those light workers will be instruments for releasing karmic debt, okay? And then transmuting those energies back into the universe as strong, healthy, higher vibrations. But this whole scenario gave me such a totally different perspective on the pain that I was dealing with. First of all, was the knowledge that the pain was associated with healing, and that was a biggie. It really was.
Yeah.
It wasn't the pain of disease, but the pain of releasing the disease, and that was huge. But now I realized I was serving as proxy to release energies that I've carried, not only in this physical incarnation, but past lives and from my ancestors. So the whole thing has to do with perspective. How you view life and your surroundings will set the foundation for your future. And when you start seeing patterns that repeat in your life, that's a clue, Carrie. It tells you, wait, stop, pause, take time. Maybe it's something more than just meets the eye. Sometimes it's an opportunity for a different understanding and an opportunity for growth. So my takeaway was deal with your energy vibrations now. Deal with what bubbles to the surface. Make choices in your life, big ones and small ones, on what feels right. You never know when you're dealing with issues with energy from generations past or your own past lives. And know that you are a very powerful human who operates on energy. We all do. And as we deal with that energy, it's going to affect the quality of our experiences, our lives. So it's
Wow.
back to perspective. I know it was huge, not only the vision, but then the understanding later. It gave me much firmer foundation of dealing with issues in life, such as this pain and it not just the pain, but it's like this part's broken, the next day another part broken, this part and this part. But it's
Yeah.
all good, Carrie. It's all
Wow.
good.
So how would you, for like the average person who's not spiritual, I mean, how could they get, because people live in pain like their whole lives. They always have aches and pains and things going on that they, I mean, I wonder how we could translate this for an average person that's just, going through pain. So what kind of steps do you think they can take to try and do some releasing of pain just by maybe hearing what we're saying? And what steps could they take to try and release some of that pain? Just as, as a
Right,
mortal, like
right. If you've ever had a toothache or a backache,
everything.
you
We've
know,
had it all.
we've had it all. So you're sound asleep and all of a sudden that aching tooth just wakes you up. It is very challenging to not put your attention on that ache, on that pain. And so, first of all, realize that this is something that's calling your attention to your body. Take a look at it. What is going on? With my training, something's wrong, then, I seek medical advice. But there's more to it than that. Carrie, I remember what Eckhart Tolle once said, that pain is just the condition of humans. This is what we go through. We have pain, but that suffering is an option. So when you find yourself in so much pain, try to put a pause there. Try to stop it by paying attention to something else. Try not to feed it. Try not to give more fuel to it. If your right shoulder is really hurting, think about your left shoulder. It's not in pain. Take a deep breath. Do whatever you need to do to put a space between that intense pain and then how you're reacting. For example, with me, I've been running every day, 2 to 3 miles every day. What a surprise. Over the last few weeks, I've had my back go out. Well, I've twice, and I've been able to go for a couple of years with running without having severe pain, and all of a sudden I have pain. The message to me was, maybe it's time for me to take a look at my behavior and look at my habits. Do I really need to run 2 or 3 miles a day? No. So instead, what I'm doing is I'm still putting in the mileage, but I'm doing it mindfully and I'm doing it slowly. I'm taking time to look at my surroundings as I walk, and I'm learning to get back into that state where I appreciate the nature that surrounds me. So just know that the pain is there for a reason. If there's a physical reason behind it, of course, you want to get that checked out medically. But if you're like me and you're seeing one thing after another, maybe there's a larger picture and a larger perspective.
Yeah.
Know that what we give attention to is going to increase. So do what you can to take your attention, to take your energy away from what's negative and what hurts and put it onto something that's more positive. Learn to put a pause in there so that you are not constantly reminded of this low level energy, something that's wrong. Instead, remember the law of attraction and put your attention on something that's positive. Pick up a book and read it. Step outside into nature.
In some of the books I've read, I remember reading very much about how as humans, we have this thing to where I do this, I get up in the morning, I have my coffee, I go for my run, I get dressed for work, I did. It's like,
Yeah,
stop it. Change up everything. Don't be a habit. It's like I used to get up every single morning. I would have my cup of decaf and I would be buzzing around while I do it. I don't think I've had coffee in a week or 2. It's like I've just, and it's decaf. Okay, I don't need it. I don't need caffeine. But it's just I love the routine of it. It was just the ritual, but I'm like, I just don't want it or need it. So I've like stopped doing that. And I used to be a runner. Boy, it was like I would drive down the street. If I saw somebody running, those endorphins kicked in and it's like I want to go for a run. It was so weird. But I too, it was like my knees, I would have trouble, with my back and the pounding. So I just like, I just stopped doing it. But when I started walking and like going out to nature, it's like I can get 5, 10 miles in a day just being out and observing everything and enjoying it. So getting out to nature is beautiful. But change up your routine. If you
Yes.
do have aches and pains, because I do know somebody very close to me that has a hip problem, a hernia problem, a knee problem, but wants to continue doing the same activities that exacerbate these problems. It's like maybe you need to stop those for a while and do something else. But I love doing this. Well, then that's on you. But the other thing you said, like to take your mind off, like you have a sore tooth or something. I remember my daughter would be like, "Oh, this hurts so bad." And I'm like, "Want me to step on your foot really hard? It'll take your mind off of it." Same thing. It's just distract yourself from what it is.
Right. Actually, we have a term for that in psychology. It's called competing response. So if something hurts so bad here, if you do something else different, it's going to compete with that response. And if you hit your hand hard enough with the hammer, you're going to forget about this and you're going to go over to that. Well, that's exactly what you're suggesting that we do, is bring in a competing response, something that's going to break up your routine and change what you're doing. So if you are running and you're having aches and pains, let's do something that's going to take your thoughts away from that. Change your routine,
Go
do something
swimming
differently. Go swimming, go for a beautiful, peaceful walk in nature.
or a bike
You know,
ride. There's so much more you can do.
yeah, take a deep breath, smell the flowers, yoga, do something different that's going to take your mind away from something that is not being positive for you, something that's not helping you along your way.
This is a healing show for you people. You got a lot of good information here. I love that. Well, I'm glad you're feeling better and the pieces parts are all getting back together again.
Oh, me too. Oh, and I guess the whole takeaway from this is embrace life as you see it. You can have aches and pains, but don't let that define who you are. Deal with issues now so that you don't have to deal with them, or your future ancestors don't have to deal with them.
Exactly.
When you realize that everything really is in perfect order, it's just waiting for us to just jump in and embrace life as we see it. Look for the joy, look for the gift, go with the flow, change your life up. And so next time, guys, please join us. We would love to have you subscribe, follow us, share. Until next time,
We will see you later.
bye now.
Bye.
My name is Candace Sanderson from the West Coast. No, you're from the West Coast. I'm from the West Coast of Florida.
Blooper. Yeah, you wish you're on the West Coast.
I know. Here we go.
You're starting early, girl.
Really.